thousands of people are going to be moving in and out of Bryant, Arkansas and Little Rock, Arkansas. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you which city really best fits for you, especially if you're relocating to one of these cities, especially going towards the end of spring and going towards summer. So guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Cody, one of the top producing agents here in Arkansas with eXp Realty. I help sellers demand the most amount of money and help buyers find the next best deal. And I do apologize if I haven't been as consistent as I was. I just bought my first house at 21 years old, guys. And I have been just trying to get used to this house, especially coming from a small, 500 to 700 square foot bedroom now to a 2,000 square foot house. So please excuse my absence. But in today's video, I'm going to be telling you which kind of best fit for you. And let's start off with Little Rock, right? Little Rock, you get small city lifestyle. Now, what do I mean by a small city lifestyle, right? If you haven't already visited Little Rock, Arkansas, especially the downtown area, right? You have already noticed that, it's a very small lifestyle. It's a very, cultural lifestyle, which we're going to get to later down here in the video. But you get this small lifestyle, you don't get a big lifestyle like Houston, Texas, for example, or like down there in Miami, Florida, right? It's just everybody knows each other. That's how it's just a small city, right? There's a lot of things to do, but there's not a lot of opportunities, but there's still quite a few opportunities, which we're going to talk about again later on in this video. But you get this small city, you're going to easily notice that it's easy to get from one place to another. Everybody's going to know each other. You may even see the same people every single day if you decide to live over here, which brings up to our next opportunity, method one, which is more opportunities, right? You're going to get more opportunities than Bryant, right? Of course, this is the capital city when you are moving into Arkansas, right? Little Rock. So what I mean by more opportunities, right? It's not like, you go to a big state, you get, signed professionally to a team or whatever. What I mean by more opportunities, you get more job opportunities. There's more jobs being created in Little Rock as I'm making this video right now. As I always mention, whenever you've been paying attention to my other videos that I've been creating, right? You notice that Little Rock is really up and coming, and I can prove to you that because there's more job opportunities up and coming every single day, especially tech jobs, especially, restaurants are being built, right? So there's a lot of new opportunities and a lot of things to do in Little Rock that's making it up and coming. A lot of people are really relocating out here, especially for retirement and all that stuff, right? Which brings us to our next point. There's more things to do. Now, guys, I'm 21 years old, about to turn 22 here in about the next month, right? Or really about a couple weeks. But I've been on this earth for 21 years, and I've grown up in Little Rock, and I can 110% tell you that there's more things to do versus when I was a little kid, when I was growing up, when quote unquote there was really nothing to do. What I mean by that is that I grew up, there used to be this one amusement park, well, it's not really an amusement park, but this park, and they're still open today, called Big Rock Fun Park, right? They got batting cages, they got go-karts, they got bumper boats and all that stuff, right? And those were kind of the only things that, we used to do as a kid, right? And normally it was either only that or riding bikes throughout the entire neighborhood, right? But other than that, they've been building trampoline parks, they've been building virtual reality, things across I haven't even been to them yet, but basically what I'm saying is that there's more things to do, there's more activities, there's more things versus wherever when I was a little kid, where there was barely anything. There wasn't laser tag, there wasn't anything of this. Of course, there's been a couple places that shut down, like Playtime Pizza and all this stuff. But really, when I'm really just talking to the parents here, right? If your kids are saying, oh, what is there to do? At Altitude Trampoline Parks, there's new trampoline parks on Colonel Glenn, right? There's new movie theaters, especially if you're going out towards the Bass Pro Shops. The big Bass Pro Shop has been recently built a couple years ago, and I can go on and on and on the new things that I personally didn't grow up with that we have here today in Little Rock. Which brings us to our last one for Little Rock. There's more culture. This is going back towards the downtown area, right? This is what I mean by you going to Hillcrest, you going to the Heights. You're noticing there's a lot of communities and everybody has their own unique cultures, right? And what I mean by that is, Little Rock is basically known for the Little Rock Nine. You go to Central High School, right? Yeah, I'm talking about there's like Italian food spots, especially up there in Hillcrest. They have some nice Italian food spots. They have, going towards downtown, they have some luxury restaurants. And yes, we do have luxury restaurants here in Little Rock, especially for it to be an unknown city, right? What I mean by there's a lot of culture, what I really mean by a lot of culture is that, I really can relate Little Rock to Louisiana, especially New Orleans, right? If you go up to New Orleans, of course, there's going to be, subsonic differences, right? But really, if you go to New Orleans or go to Louisiana and you take some of that back to Little Rock, you notice there's a lot of similarities from Louisiana, going towards New Orleans to Little Rock, right? But if you're not that type of city boy or city girl, then Bryant may be the one for you. And number one with Bryant is that it's a lot more peaceful. Now, what I mean by it's a lot more peaceful, right? Is that we're not even talking about Benton, right? We're talking about Bryant. But I always talk about Ben and Bryant because they are similar, right? Now, what I mean by more peaceful is that you get a lot more space. You get a lot, you get away from the city life, right? If you're somebody who doesn't want to be in that city life and you just want peace, especially you want to get away from cars, you want to get away from all the traffic, you want to get away from all the bull crap of what the city life comes with. And Bryant is the place to be there, right? It's new subdivisions, it's a lot more peaceful, which we're going to talk about, especially with its perks when it comes to Bryant, right? Which leads to our next point. There's more space. I just said this. There's more space. And what I mean by more space, there's more acreage, right? Bryant is really known for new subdivisions, space. Sometimes they're out of city limits. Sometimes they're, more space in between houses, especially if you go deep into Bryant, right? You're going to see a lot of new builds and you're going to see they're sitting on 2 to 3 acres, right? You're sitting on 1 acre, right? Everybody is spread out, right? So if you're going somewhere, you're looking for primarily, land, you want to be to yourself, you want to be, to new subdivisions. Ben and Bryant, and I know I said it, Ben is not going to be a part of this, but Ben and Bryant is really the places that you want to be, especially you want to get away from the Little Rock area. You want to get away, from the city area, which brings to our next point, newer subdivisions. I said this over and over and over, right? Newer subdivisions, newer built subdivisions. Even builders are offering concessions to even pay for your closing costs. And listen, if you're looking to relocate to any of these cities and you're having a hard time, choosing what best fit for you, choosing the prices, choosing the lifestyle for you, click the Zoom link in the description below. Book your free consultation. We'll go over what your game plans are. We'll go in details on what Bryant all has to offer, Little Rock has to offer. Ben, it doesn't matter if you're looking to relocate to Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, I'm the guy to go to. So click that Zoom link down in the description below. But newer subdivisions, a lot of new builders offer a lot of concessions, especially for people who want lower interest rates, who want to buy down their rates, right? Who want their closing costs paid. But if you go out there, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Newer subdivisions, newer builds, newer single family homes, right? And the last one is outdoor activities outside the city limits. Now, I was talking about outside the city limits when I was going up there to Bryant, right? Now, what do I mean by a lot of outdoor activities, right? But Cody, you just mentioned, it's very peaceful. It's not really much out there, right? That's not exactly what I mean. But I mean by more outdoor activities is that if you're a hunter and you like hunting season, now I'm not a hunter, so please, please, excuse me for the wrong language that I'm going to say, especially when it goes to duck hunting, deer hunting, and all that stuff, right? But to bring those up, Bryant and Benton are the prime areas to go duck hunting, to go deer hunting, right? So if you're that type of guy that likes to go four-wheeling, right? Dirt bike riding, those are the areas that you want to go to. I believe there is a dirt bike track that I went there when I was, really, really young, when I was like, 11 or 12, right? I used to have this dirt bike and there was a specific area that we go out towards, I think it was out towards deep in Bryant, right? But like barely going towards into Ben. There's just like this little dirt trail that a bunch of, ATVs go, four-wheelers go, and a lot of off-roading activities, right? But that just goes to say that sometimes these activities can be outside the city limits. And when you're outside the city limits, there's no rules whatsoever. So that is to wrap up what Bryant has to offer. If you're more of an outdoor type of person, if you're more of a person who wants peace, who wants their own space, who wants to just get away from everybody, Bryant is the area that's going to fit for you. If you're a person who wants to stay in the city, wants to stay in the cultural life, right? You want more things to do. You want more job opportunities, right? You want to make a living for yourself, especially if you want to, just sit back, relax, and just enjoy your retirement, but still want something to do. Little Rock is the place for you, right? Now, of course, this is not going to be the only video that I'm talking about Little Rock and Bryant. I'm going to do areas like Conway, Maumelle, especially, like I said earlier, a lot of people are going to be relocating to Arkansas, and it's best to know what do you guys need to look for, especially when you choose each city? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of was Little Rock or Bryant fair for you? You guys, be sure to like, subscribe, share the video if you want more valuable content like this. Again, if you are a buyer and you're looking to relocate to either of these cities that you don't know what to look for, you don't know what to look out for, be sure to click that Zoom link in the description below. Book your free call. If you want to go on my website, I just created Cody Garrett, realestate.com. Go over exactly more in depth about what these areas are. Look at my testimonials of the people that I helped. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this short video. I'll see you in the next one. Let's get